Welcome to today's episode of Essential Oil Education. Today we wrap up our discussion on methods of extraction by discussing one last method that is more commonly used than other methods, but less common still yet than the ones previously discussed. The method we'll be discussing today is, of course, CO2 extraction. CO2 extraction is still fairly an expensive method of extraction, which is why it has for the longest time not been used as frequently, as it results in a higher priced extract. However, CO2 in liquid form acts as a solvent and can pull out various different compounds from plants, including not only volatiles but also other larger molecules that steam distillation might not be able to draw out. CO2 is considered to be safer than most solvents because CO2 has no known toxicity to humans, and so it's considered one of the safest extraction methods of plant substances. As mentioned, it is one of the most expensive extraction methods due to the equipment being as expensive as it is. CO2 as a solvent is considered a tunable solvent, which means that they can select to some degree what compounds get pulled out at what point, and so you can actually end up with an extract that is almost hand-picked what will be in it to some degree. Now again, I don't know the full details of CO2 extraction, and it's a very complex process, and if you want to learn more about it, by all means check out Dr. Google. They will have much more elaborate descriptions of it. But for the purposes of this video series, with the CO2 extraction, there are different methods. So there's your supercritical and your subcritical methods of CO2 extraction. The supercritical uses higher temperatures and higher pressures, but can be damaging to heat-sensitive elements within the plant compound, or within the plant matter. The subcritical uses lower temperatures and lower pressures, which is great for temperature-sensitive compounds that would be destroyed in certain temperatures. But it often yields a lower resulting substance. But it is less damaging. So sometimes they'll use supercritical, sometimes they use sub, and in some cases they'll use both. They'll start with the subcritical to pull out the temperature-sensitive compounds, and then they'll extract using supercritical to get the rest out. One of the advantages to CO2 extracts is that you obviously use a lower heat and you can select what compounds you pull out of the plant matter. Now this is particularly noticeable in things like yarrow, German chamomile, and blue tansy, where the chemazoline is actually a result of the high temperatures in the steam distillation process. This allows us to have an extract from the German chamomile that actually has higher matricine content, which is actually a more potent anti-inflammatory. So this method, like all other methods, has its place and its purpose, and it's also important to know the differences between them. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Essential Oil Education. I hope you found it informative and learned something new today. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the space below, or you can email them to hello@brotherhoodaromatics.com, or you can contact us through the website www.brotherhoodaromatics.com. I hope to see you next time when we start discussing methods of application. Ooh. Anyway, I hope you have an aromatic day. Cheers.